I never figured my old beat-up Ford F350 with the rusted-out fenders and that rickety plow on the front would end up being the hill I'd die on. Honest to God, if you'd told me last year that a snowplow would nearly bring a whole neighborhood to its knees, I'd have laughed you straight out of my garage. But that was before Patricia Cunningham, Queen of the Meadowbrook Heights, HOA, sent me that lovely certified letter, you know, the kind that makes your blood run cold before you even tear it open. It was one of those bone-deep cold afternoons in early November, the kind where the wind just bites right through your flannel, and the sky sits low and gray like it's holding a grudge. I was sitting at my kitchen table, hands still greasy from changing the oil in the truck, when I opened her letter. There it was, big gold-embossed HOA letterhead, because nothing says petty tyranny like fancy stationery. I started reading, and with every word I could feel my ears getting hotter. Dear Mr. Isaac Brennan, it went condescending right from the jump. It has come to the attention of the Meadowbrook Heights HOA board that you have been operating a commercial snow removal vehicle within our private community streets without proper authorization, blah, blah, blah. Apparently my truck and I were now outlaws, and I was hereby ordered to cease and desist or face $500 per day in fines. You ever get that feeling like someone's just spitting your morning coffee? Yeah, that was me. Now I'd lived in my place 8 years, 3-bedroom ranch, nothing fancy, just enough space for me, a dog, and a lifetime of old tools. For 5 winters running, I'd been the neighborhood snowplow guy. $20 a driveway, sometimes less if I knew someone was struggling. And it wasn't just about the money. I liked helping. I cleared the whole cul-de-sac, a few side streets, made sure Mrs. Henderson down the block could get out for her prescriptions, and the Rodriguez kids made it to their school bus. Folks waved, handed me coffee, sent me home with cookies, real Norman Rockwell with frostbite kind of stuff. But see, Patricia Cunningham was new on the throne, fresh out of the local real estate scene, and hell-bent on restoring dignity and property values. First, she banned my neighbor's light-up Santa, said it was an eyesore. Next, she'd started measuring lawns with a tape like she was the FBI. And now apparently she was gunning for me. My truck, she claimed, was a commercial vehicle, and the whole neighborhood would collapse if I so much as started the engine. Now, I'm no lawyer, but I know when something smells funny. I called my buddy Jake. He's a paralegal, works downtown. Jake laughed so hard he almost dropped the phone. Isaac, unless you've got commercial plates and a fleet of snowplows, she's got nothing. You're running a beer money operation, not FedEx. But Jake didn't know Patricia like I was starting to. She'd already fined Mrs. Henderson for leaving her recycling bin out an hour late and dinged the Rodriguez family for a basketball hoop 3 inches over the property line. Still, I figured I'd try to reason with the board. So I showed up at the next HOA meeting clutching that ridiculous letter. Place was about as warm as a dentist's waiting room. Patricia was perched up front, lips pursed so tight I thought she'd pass out. I just want to clarify, I told her my truck's personal. It's registered that way. I help neighbors. That's it. Patricia, though, had her script memorized. Any vehicle equipped with commercial-grade equipment operating for financial compensation constitutes commercial activity, she declared. Sandra, her note-taking sidekick, started nodding like a bobblehead. We have a responsibility to maintain community standards. I about choked on that. Community standards, my ass, it was about control, plain and simple. Nobody backed me up. That's how HOAs work. Fear and apathy. People keep their heads down, hope the trouble passes by their driveway. So I went home frustrated as hell and called my regulars. Mrs. Henderson sounded scared. What do we do when it snows? She asked. You'll have to hire someone or shovel yourself, I said. Or hope the HOA finally lifts a finger. I hated saying it, but my hands were tied. Patricia had seen to that. A couple weeks later, the weather guys on TV started losing their minds. Historic blizzard incoming. It was the kind of warning that makes you double-check your generator and make sure the dog's inside. I tuned up the truck anyway, even though I figured I'd be plowing for friends outside the neighborhood. By Friday night, the snow was coming down so thick you couldn't see the streetlight from the porch. Saturday morning, over a foot and climbing. I was out shoveling my own driveway at sunrise, sweat freezing to my neck. Neighbors struggled. I saw Patricia standing in her designer parka at the end of her drive, face redder than a stop sign, barking into her phone. By noon, the Meadowbrook Facebook group was blowing up. People were trapped, supplies running low. One house had a burst pipe, nobody could get in or out. Questions started popping up. Why can't Isaac plow? Who's in charge of clearing the streets? Patricia finally posted blaming the weather, saying the HOA was diligently seeking a contractor. Right. In Wisconsin. During a blizzard. Good luck with that. By Sunday, the situation was bad. 3 feet of snow driveways buried, tempers running hot. Some folks blamed me for not plowing. I texted back screenshots of Patricia's letter. That usually shut them up. Then things got serious. A neighbor's daughter had an asthma attack. The ambulance was stuck at the entrance, blocked by a mountain of snow. I didn't think, I just acted. Fired up the truck, plowed a path straight to their house, picked up the dad and his little girl, and pushed through snowdrifts that nearly stalled me out. I got them to the ambulance, watched them drive off, then sat in my truck, hands shaking. I knew I'd just broken the ban, but at that point, screw the HOA. Sometimes you just do what needs doing. Monday, the storm broke. Cold sun on a world of white chaos. At 8 sharp, there's a knock. David Chen, the dad, standing there with half the neighborhood behind him. "We're going to the emergency HOA meeting," he said. "You're coming with us." Mrs. Henderson piped up. It's time we stood up. Community center was packed, the air thick with anger and hope. Patricia tried to keep control, but it was slipping fast. Residents shouted, told their stories, missed chemo appointments, empty pantries, fear and helplessness. David laid into her, voice cracking. "My daughter could have died because of you." Someone called for a vote of no confidence. 2 board members quit on the spot. Patricia and Sandra stood alone, looking like they'd seen a ghost. That day, the ban on my plowing got tossed out. Carl Peterson, one of the sane board members, turned to me. "We want to hire you officially. $1,000 per storm plus your usual driveways." Deal. I nodded. Applause. Honest to God applause. That afternoon, I cleared every street. People brought me coffee and sandwiches, kids waved, and for the first time all winter, I felt like I belonged. The drama, though, wasn't done. Turns out Patricia and Sandra had been doing more than just power tripping, they were stealing. The board found 30 grand missing fake companies' shell accounts. Police got involved. By January, both women were arrested. Local news had a field day. Neighbors talked, shook their heads, but mostly we just moved on. Life returned to normal. I kept plowing. The board put in new rules, hired real accountants, and made damn sure no one person had all the power ever again. The court case came in March. I sat in the back, watched Patricia try to cry her way out of trouble. Didn't work. Guilty on all counts. She got 3 years, Sandra got 2. I didn't cheer, but I won't lie, I felt like justice had finally shown up. The neighborhood changed after that. People got involved. We had block parties. I got invited to dinners, graduation parties, more than one Sunday football cookout. David's daughter started calling me the Snowplow hero. It felt corny, but I liked it anyway. Patricia's old house filled up with laughter and new life, a family with kids who loved the snow. One afternoon, Carl called. Board voted for a bonus, Isaac. "You deserve it." I almost said no, but he insisted. "You stood up for all of us." I made coffee, sat at my table, looked out at the clean white street, mine now in a way. Not just because I plowed it, but because I'd fought for it. You know, the lesson in all this isn't really about snow or plows or HOA drama. It's about people. About standing up when you have to, even if you're shaking in your boots. About doing the right thing when nobody else will. You let a bully run things and pretty soon everyone's miserable. But if folks band together even a little, there's not a tyrant in the world who can stop them. So I keep plowing. Winters come and go. My truck's a little older, the blade a little more worn, but I'm still here. The restrictive covenants are still around, but now they come with a side of common sense. The HOA, it's finally run by people who care. And every year the snow falls, I fire up my Ford, and somewhere deep down I smile because this is what community is supposed to feel like. Patricia tried to control everything, but all she did was bring us together. Her story's a warning, sure, but it's also a punchline at block parties and a legend for new neighbors. The kind of tale that gets passed around, grows with each retelling until one day it's just part of who we are. And maybe next storm, when you see a neighbor out there shoveling, you'll remember this sometimes. All it takes is one stubborn guy with a truck to make things right. Or maybe you'll be the one behind the wheel. Either way, don't ever let anyone tell you helping people is against the rules. Let me ask you this. Where's the line between following the rules and doing what's right? Is it better to keep your head down or speak up when it counts, even if it means going up against someone in power? I'd love to hear what you think. Drop your own story or tell me where you stand. Because if there's one thing I know for sure, it's that every community has a Patricia. What matters is whether the rest of us are willing to stand up when it really matters.